Hi, this is Greg Smalley with Pod 366, a Weird Movies podcast. And today I'm joined by Giles Edwards, as I often am, back. And I believe this is correct. Our guests this week are Nick Gatsby and Skye Armenta of ZAPPER, which is a psychedelic adventure maybe movie that is now free on Tubi for anybody to watch, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, as we usually do, we're going to go through some of the news and new releases of the week. So let me see if I can get those up. First still up for you. All right, can you guys see the still?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that guy. I saw him up close once.
So that's I actually don't know how to pronounce his name.
Panos Cosmatos.
Cosmatos, not Cosmatos, Cosmatos.
I believe, yeah. That's how I referred to him, and he didn't correct me, so.
He is, of course, well known for Beyond the Black Rainbow and Mandy, two movies which likely influenced Zapper, I would guess. And
oh yeah.
He has done one other thing, which was a short for the Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix, which is of an equal style and quality. And now he's up for a third movie about which we know very little, only that it's probably good. It's a science fiction movie. We know that much. It appears to be set in a galaxy far, far away. And we expect him to just continue with his normal routine of having very bright and colorful movies. They're a little slow moving, lots of slow synthesizer music.
Meditative, Greg.
From the 80s, and lots of weirdness. So are you guys as excited for this as I think I will be? Or more?
Well, I'm not sure if you guys are huge fans of them. I know I am. I'll watch anything Stu makes. I really loved his segment of Cabinet of Curiosities. I thought that was probably the best one I watched out of like the handful of episodes I've seen. And he's definitely style over substance, but he really provokes a good mixture of dreamlike qualities mixed with nightmares really well. That really gives his films a unique surreal touch, and that's the type of stuff I love to watch.
I'm really excited because everything he does is very uncompromising, and I think that's very refreshing to see in a director and just like a creator in general. So
Yeah, I'm certainly going to see this when it comes out, and almost certainly going to enjoy it. As to whether or not I'll hit the giddy peaks I did with his Nicolas Cage vehicle, that is a little less likely, but that's because I think that combination of Nicolas Cage doing his thing along with pretty much everyone else in that movie, with Cosmatos's particular, we'll say, cinematic palette, was just... That's gonna be hard to top.
Oh yeah, I agree. Getting Nick Cage was a big coup for him, and it really helped Cage's career.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think those two, because it's like hot and cold, you know. Cage is so wild and crazy, and Panos is so, kind of restrained and cold. They made a really nice contrast. So yeah,
this is his first film with A24, I believe, which is pretty awesome. I'm excited about that in general.
Yeah, so
yeah, they're sort of turning into the new Lionsgate, because I remember years ago Lionsgate used to do these kind of eccentric things, and they've kind of stopped sometime in the past 10 years or so. And so yeah, seeing another one of the very few mid-tier studios trying to carry that on is reassuring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
thank you for mentioning that it's from A24, because that is, like another reason to be excited, because they have far more hits than misses, and even their misses tend to be very, high quality, good looking movies. So
Interesting message.
Yeah.
all right. Well, that I think was the most exciting. This one, I maybe exciting, I don't know. It's this has been around for a while, and I was hadn't mentioned it because other shows were too packed. It's a new Silent Hill movie with Christophe Gans returning to the direct after a really, really, really bad sequel, second film in the franchise. The first one we put on the list because of the strong imagery and, frankly, the kind of confusing script, which gave it a lot more weirdness. So I don't have tremendous faith that this is going to be, as good as the first one, or really not a disaster, but it's something to look for, and I've got hopes. What about you guys? What do you think about a new Silent Hill movie?
Okay, so you go ahead. So I mean, I seen the first one back when I was in middle school, and yeah, one thing that is very strong about the film is they absolutely nailed the look of Silent Hill. Like it looks stunning. It looks exactly how it does in the game. But ultimately, it kind of accumulated to just another, shitty video game adaptation. Like, it's not great. And actually, I found out that Roger Avery actually wrote the script, which, I love Roger Avery. So Pulp Fiction is my favorite movie, but I don't think he ever played a Silent Hill game in his life. So it's kind of weird to have him write the script, but he's not returning for this one. And honestly, I had no interest in watching it at all. I really hate the title, Return to Silent Hill. I think that's just, it sucks.
Lazy.
It's lazy. But however, I will say I randomly found out that, well, first of all, my favorite cinematographer is Skye. But my second favorite cinematographer is Benoit Debe, who's anyone who's familiar with Gaspar Noé's films or Harmony Korine's fairly recent movies, you'll know him. He's my like favorite Hollywood cinematographer, and he's actually going to be shooting this one. So that gets me a little bit excited to at least check it out, because I know it will be visually stunning. I don't know about the rest of it. If they follow the games closely, they'll be fine, but they seem to always want to do their own thing. So I guess we'll see how it goes. As I said, I think it's going to look beautiful, but I don't know story-wise, acting-wise, direction, how it's going to play out.
All right.
To be determined. He doesn't pull punches, so.
Oh yeah. All right, Giles, any thoughts?
I guess more or less what Nick is saying there. I can see this very easily being very beautiful and pointless. But my hope, as always, springs eternal that either the right creative forces will do their thing, or maybe there'll be a series of happy incoherencies that might tip it more in our direction than mainstream. But I know there's a big fan base, so this will be successful, I imagine, regardless of how it turns out. So hopefully at least some of those fans will be happy. I don't have any skin in the game for this franchise, so I can say no more.
I think guarded optimism or hopefulness is probably the tone to take with that one, since none of us are really strong fans of the series. But moving on. So I haven't read this. This is a novel that's being adapted for the screen. It's been picked up, by Studio Canal, picked it up. And they brought Martin Scorsese on as producer, not director. So that's exciting. The novel is described really as evoking a lot of the atmosphere of The Shining, is how it's always been described. Like I say, I haven't read it, but I have read some reviews about it, and it sounds like it's a pretty weird story. A couple goes to Europe to adopt a child, ends up at this hotel that's nearly deserted, but has a bunch of strange characters in it. Again, it's called What Happens at Night. We don't have a director yet. We don't have any cast. So there's really not all that much to go on, except that the novel has a good reputation as something that might be interesting to us. Do any of you have any more insights on What Happens at Night?
I just hope, because it's Scorsese, I hope that it has some like similarities in a lot of ways to like Shutter Island, because I love that movie so much, and I think I can see this being really good, just because a lot of, if it's done right, I feel like a lot of things that are adapted from books, they're very character driven, and I really like that. So I think I might be able to get into it. Sometimes it's kind of like hokey and like not good, but other times I feel like it lends itself to like really good scripts. So
I actually don't know much about this project. Kind of reading up about the novel a bit, I would like to check it out. And comparing itself to The Shining, that's some pretty high standards to live up to. But I have a strong feeling once the movie's out, it's definitely going to be better than the Doctor Sleep movie. So,
Wow. Strong claim there. Yeah. Well, obviously, what we all prefer is Scorsese to helm What Happens After Hours as maybe a combination follow-up with this in mind. Yeah, the thing with big names like Scorsese producing, it means there's going to be an obvious floor of quality. But as executive producer, I've noticed, at least from casual observation, it's not like this is necessarily going to feel like a Scorsese picture, because he's not slated to direct it. It's just that a name like that allows this to happen in the first place, and certainly will probably help around the edges. But there's just too many unknowns for me to really commit to any forecast for what this may turn out to be like.
Yeah, we're going mainly on the reputation of the novel, and the fact that Scorsese's willing to attach his name to it early kind of gives you, that gives it some some cachet there. So another one we're hopeful for. That does it for, we had 3 in development projects to talk about, which was rare. So now we're getting into ones that are actually being released. This is Giving Birth to a Butterfly, which is getting a really, really quick theatrical release, which is good for any indie to get any theatrical release. And then it's going to be on Fandor exclusively, which I always say when I hear movies on Fandor, it's kind of a shame because not many people have that service and are going to be able to see it. But eventually it'll get released on regular VOD. I have seen this one, and it's kind of a movie in 2 parts. It begins as a sort of dryly absurd dramedy about a family, mother who basically has her identity stolen, and she develops a relationship with her son's pregnant girlfriend, certainly more of a relationship than the son has, and they go off on a road trip together, and she goes in search of her missing identity, meets a couple of very strange old twin women, and then it sort of turns into a totally dreamlike surrealist film at the very end. It's a very short movie, which is good. I can't give it a general. I'd like to see it again. Certainly, it's kind of in that middle range. You may like it. You may find it a little and not enough going on. So I could give it kind of a tepid recommendation, I guess. But maybe if I saw it again, I would like it a lot more. At any rate, we do have the trailer up. I wonder if anybody has seen that and has any thoughts or anything they noticed about this project.
The trailer wasn't very revealing to me. Your synopsis was much more telling, for sure. So, I think it could be interesting. I would have to see it. Yeah.
The quote from Film Threat definitely has my interest. Donnie Darko meets Twin Peaks. So just based off of that little description right there, kind of sparks my interest. I don't know if it'll live up to that, but I did see the trailer. It definitely looks the trailer, it looks interesting, and I am a fan of Fandor. They just put out Country Gold, which is probably my favorite movie of the year that I've seen so far. Yeah. So I'm very happy that they're putting out exclusives. So, just to support them, I'd definitely be willing to check this out for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that stood out in the trailer that was odd was the framing of the image had a very obvious kind of slideshow slide kind of feel with the curved edges throughout the thing. But other than that, yeah, if whatever oddness may be found in that is not on display in the trailer, except for the blurbs that superimposed like from Film Threat, which, if you see words like Donnie, Twin, Darko Peaks, then okay, that's gonna direct your eye to see, oh, is this? No, okay, I'm seeing sort of melodrama in a car. Well, maybe somewhere else this is going on, but I see you reviewed it, Greg, so I'll give that a look at some point.
Yeah, the trailer is not representative of the movie, which they're probably trying to get people. I don't know. They're probably trying not to scare people off with how weird the movie is. It's not super weird, but it is weird, especially like I say, at that ending. For the quote, I would definitely not describe it as Donnie Darko meets Twin Peaks. I suppose there's in the family dynamic that they have that occupies the first half of the film is maybe similar to the family dynamic in Donnie Darko. There's really no other similarities. And Twin Peaks, maybe a little bit of like the sense of humor of season one. However, I think that that quote is on point simply because I think fans of Donnie Darko and Twin Peaks could also be fans of this because of the common weird element, all three. But the films really aren't, those three projects really aren't all that similar to me. But moving on, here's another one that came out, did not get a theatrical release. The Dreams of Rene Sendam. Haven't seen it. It went straight to VOD and Blu-ray and DVD. The image on the cover is certainly a little bit of a surreal one of a astronaut standing on the beach, kind of looking upward at the sky. I saw the trailer. The trailer does it's a weird film. The synopsis doesn't reveal a lot. It's one of those guy lost in his dreams versus reality movies. The trailer had some interesting qualities. The acting was, I think, a little bit uneven. Some of it was very good. Some of it seemed a little flat. Some of the dialogue seemed a little, to me,
oh god,
a little questionable. But overall, I thought it was very interesting. There's some chanting in the trailer, which I thought was nice. Another scene on the beach So it's a low budget movie, and they're working with what they can. So, what do you guys think?
Did you watch the trailer?
I watched parts of the movie when you were watching it.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
you watched
So
the whole movie? Oh,
yeah, I ended up watching it on. It's available on YouTube. There's some channels streaming it for free for anyone that wants to check it out. It's a pretty short movie. It's probably like an hour, less than an hour 20.
Hour 18.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, hour 18, and I thought it was decent. I thought the cinematography was pretty nice. It had pretty nice direction and all that. But yeah, I agree with the performances being uneven. It definitely is, kind of. And even from the lead actor, like he goes from being great in some scenes to being, and it's kind of strange. But uh, there's some like Lynch inspired moments sprinkled out throughout the movie, but ultimately it's kind of a standard like romantic dramedy, or I shouldn't call it a dramedy, but drama. There's not really any humor in it. But but yeah, it's kind of like a romantic drama with some dream elements thrown in. The main character has these daydreams that he falls into at random times, and they kind of start to get darker as the movie goes on, but it kind of just trails off in the territory that we've seen before as far as like romantic dramas go.
The bed in the
Yeah, like
striving for surrealism.
yeah, like like scenes with a sad guy in a button-up shirt and a acoustic guitars playing. That it's one of those movies. And I think it's decent. Ultimately, it's not really my thing. Just like Zapper probably wouldn't be this filmmaker's thing, I would imagine. But I would be willing to check out some more of his work once he puts some more movies out. I think he definitely has talent for sure.
well,
Yeah.
a full-length review, so that makes Giles
Much more in depth than I could. I mean, I was sort of, I was kept kind of vaguely intrigued throughout, right up until the moment in the trailer, which I've only seen the trailer. The dialogue bit, "To know a living thing is to kill it," and I thought, what? No, that makes no sense. That that makes no sense. Why? I don't care who's saying it. There's no reason to say that, and certainly in conjunction with what was happening in the trailer, is like that. No, this is art dialogue that has big letters painting it as art dialogue, and that didn't sit too well with me.
Yeah, that line was the clunker in the trailer, I thought. Otherwise, I thought it was a pretty intriguing trailer.
Yeah, it was yeah,
well, okay. Well, we got
to watch it all the way through.
Okay. So, last thing. So I just want to mention this one. It's Wings of Desire, and once again, it's a 4K UHD release, and once again, it's from Criterion Collection. So they have devoted themselves to upgrading, a lot of their catalog to the 4K UHD format, which is great. Last week we discussed the Seventh Seal was upgraded. So they're getting around. They seem to be doing a couple a month. Wings of Desire, great movie about by Wim Wenders, about angels becoming humans.
And Peter Falk.
And Peter Falk is in it. Don't give away Peter Falk. Although
sorry, he was the main draw for me. But
yeah, he's the main draw. Yeah. So I just wanted to mention it. But are you guys fans of the film?
I could talk about this movie all day. I love this film so much. I would, without trepidation, say it's definitely a masterpiece.
Yeah.
In several ways. So yeah, love it. I just bought the 4K version. It came in the mail yesterday.
Yeah, we're
Like,
gonna
yeah.
surprise
Oh.
you guys.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, so we
Oh,
always
yeah.
ask, do you guys have a UHD player?
We do not, but the cool thing about at least most of the 4K Blu-rays I've seen, they come with a normal Blu-ray.
Right.
So this one's no different. You get the 4K and then the normal Blu-ray. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to pop this bad boy in for sure.
We're just waiting to upgrade.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem anyone really has a 4K player
No.
yet. You know,
I don't think we've come across anybody who has one.
I do.
You do?
Yeah,
Nice.
it's not only 4K, it's also hacked, so it's all region. So yeah, there was it was Selene and Julie Go Boating back before that had a North American release that I was slated to review that, and it was only available in the Super Blu-ray English Britain coding. I was like, oh, and I'd been looking for an excuse, so
All right.
yeah, it's.
Josh,
4K is very pretty.
By any chance?
I didn't hear that.
Giles, are you a fan of Wings of Desire by any chance?
Yeah, I will admit I've only seen it once, but I saw it during some formative years back when I was getting my film degree. Wow, 2 decades ago now. And so quite enjoyed it. I think we saw it, I don't know if it was a Criterion, it might have been a Criterion Laserdisc that was projected in the large amphitheater they had for that kind of thing. So yes, we saw it in conjunction in a double feature with the American remake that is also very famous and stars Nicolas Cage. And part of that evil scheme was to force us to discuss just what was going on in the shall we say tonal and certainly linguistic translation from Wim Wenders' vision to whoever it was that directed City of Angels. So I saw both versions, as it were, in one evening, which was possibly to the detriment of the first one, or maybe it just made it look that much better. Either way, it was it's yeah, Wings of Desire is I can't argue it is a very good movie.
Yeah, I agree that I would call it a masterpiece as well. And the Wim Wenders made 2 masterpieces back to back and really hasn't, in my mind, made any movies comparable to him since, because he made Paris, Texas right before Wings of Desire.
Okay.
Yes, so then there's this movie, which is Zapper.
Oh, speaking of masterpieces.
Finally.
Yikes.
This so if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this still, which I just wanted to put up to give you kind of a representative sense of what's going on in the movie, because as you can see, everything has been colored. There are all these backgrounds, moving backgrounds, arty backgrounds, psychedelic backgrounds, and they are in every part of the film. Which is something we're about to discuss. So let me see if let's stop the sharing. And Nick is in character as the character he plays, or dressed as the character he plays in the movie. Do you guys want to first off give your own description of your own pitch of what Zapper is?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first? Or?
You go. It's probably the same.
It's a psychedelic gangster movie that is pretty much unrecognizable from a typical gangster movie. And it's in the style of a alternate universe 90s cartoon. And it revolves around different factions of gangsters, all after this magical longboard. And little do they know, they're actually part of a game being conducted by elites, and they're pretty much killing each other off for the elites' amusement. And that's pretty much it in a vacuum.
So the elites you talk about, to me, they were like I view them as like godlike, like Greek gods manipulating these pawns, as part of a larger game. Those scenes are shot in black and white, and then the rest of it, it's to describe it. I mean, I just have to say that like every frame of film has been manipulated. Now it's obvious that it was shot very low budget, and you have bananas as props. The prop guns are bananas. And the thing about it is you just took those limitations in that obvious low budget, and by making the whole film in post-production, you kind of took like a little bit of money and made it something very unique looking, which I thought was a real achievement, and something that a lot of low budget filmmakers don't do. Or don't take advantage of. So let me ask you, how long did the film take in post-production versus production?
I mean, the whole thing took a little bit over a year, maybe almost like a year and a half. And
I'd say like half the year was spent like in pre-production and production, and then the other like full year was in post.
Yeah. So basically, pretty much a full year of editing. I probably would have got it done a little quicker, but we had some missteps happen. A hard drive broke, and stuff like that. So I kind of had to re-edit a lot of the film, unfortunately. But it did. It took quite some time, and
I'm happy with how it came out. I think the black and white part served like a very multiple purposes. I think it gives the viewers' eyes a break, because that was sort of my issue when I first watched it. And so I think introducing the black and white where it was needed really like helped me stay in it, also like watching it back, because it's different if you're like filming it, because it's all not colored and it's all the same.
Right. Yeah. I should mention that you two do, other than the acting, you do 95% of the movie, just you two, because Nick's the writer, director, you're both producers, Nick's the editor, and then Skye, and then Nick is in the movie. Skye is also in the movie as an actress, playing two roles, and also producer and the cinematographer. And so, I mean, I guess there was one other person like credited co-writing the music, and then everything else was you two guys together. So it's like
a two-man band.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what you kind of got to do in Colorado when you don't really have any money. You just got to do everything yourself,
Well, that you don't really have to worry about relying on anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the indie film scene isn't like really taken seriously out here. There's a lot of flakiness and stuff, and we know if we take on these tasks, we'll definitely get it done for sure.
Giles, do you have any questions?
Oh no, I was glad that you brought up the 90s cartoon thing, because having myself grown up with 90s cartoon, you did not get that occasional break from the vibrant colors, especially if you were sitting down for an entire, say, Saturday morning of a 90s cartoon experience. I don't think there has been any era before or since that you will see that many primary colors constantly for hours. So that was a very succinct way to describe the assault on the eyeballs there. A good assault, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it has a lot of like anime vibes that we're going for. We just wanted to do something like simple that could create like a unique universe that hasn't really been done before or seen before, really. And it's hard to do that without access to CGI and all these crazy things, rotoscoping and So it was a very effective effect. I'm not. I know a lot of people have issues with it, the constant colors, but like I just don't think there's really been too many movie universes quite like that. So it was important to us to make something very vibrant and unique, to also kind of fill in the themes and setting for the characters, as opposed to like the black and white, because the elites are inhabiting like this void of mundaneness, and like the Zapper world is much more just like cartoony, vibrant, colorful, and so we wanted to show that juxtaposition between those two worlds.
Yeah, actually,
I think if anything, oh, sorry.
Oh, please, you're a filmmaker. You go ahead.
Oh, I just think if anything, we just strive to create an experience as opposed to just like a movie. And I think we did that. And some people's experience is not good when they watch it, and other people's it is. So one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say Kenneth Anger. I recently saw some early pieces of his, and there's another very bright color thing going on with a lot of what he's toyed around with through different means, of course, but the same kind of super feel, I guess. It's that much more there because everything is just.
Okay, and oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we did take a lot from different films we've seen. With Panos Cosmatos also uses all those vibrant colors. My favorite Hollywood cinematographer, Benoit DB, his color palettes are absolutely crazy, and they really do help the viewer kind of transport themselves into that world, whether it be Enter the Void or Mandy. Like, they all have this like insane color palette that adds to that universe. So I think that's what we're pretty much striving for when it came to Zapper, to help ease that in, to just like a totally different planet.
All right. Hey, we have about a minute and a half, and so we ran a little bit long talking, but there is a final question that we'd like to ask. Giles, you want to ask it? Or?
Sure. I want to ask, what's your hometown, if you care to share, and a favorite restaurant you can recommend there?
So we're in Colorado Springs. Far as restaurants, I'd say Black Bear Diner is really great. They actually have a few locations in like other cities and states, but the one in the Springs is great. My hometown is Aurora, Colorado, and Rosie's Diner is great. It's kind of like one of those old school 50s diners that kind of look like a spaceship. It's all chrome.
Cool.
What do you recommend?
Quickly.
Probably Lucky Dumpling. That's what I'll say. And that's in the Springs as well.
I'm afraid we're going to run out of time, but it was so we did get that in under the wire. All right. I think we're going to have to log off. So bye-bye, y'all.
Yeah, it was great chatting with you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Good luck out there.